Hello, everybody. We have Mike back from vacation. Mike, welcome back. We all missed you here at TradeGATEHub, and without you, the content on the site is not as whole. The whole piece of the puzzle. So, how was your vacation, buddy?
Well, it was good. It was good, coach, and I appreciate that. And not to be dramatic, I mean, at this point, if anybody's been listening, if it's your first day here, it's no surprise that the passion out. Look at DraftKings, that the passion outpaces. We're doing this approaching, approaching 50, so the passion outweighs it all. My point being is I missed it, and it's very rare that I take time off, or at least. And by the way, I'm not here to pontificate. I can get personal at a different time. This is going to benefit everybody. Believe me, I don't want to waste anyone's time, but you know what I mean? It's necessary to a degree. I never thought it was, but you know what? As I've been saying more along, sometimes your best positions are when you let them work or have a little bit time for things to develop. And you know what? When you look at it as much as I do, we do, if you will,
Yep.
sometimes
We
these
get too close.
well, it is too close, and every move gets
Yeah.
exacerbated. Sometimes you start looking at the smaller instead of the bigger picture, which works
Yeah.
in both ways. Don't get me wrong, but I was able to, to step away, which is few and far between. You know what I mean? I relearned things that after a quarter century, I'm sure you wouldn't argue that it really comes down to I know what to do. It's just getting my principles realigned and knowing, just getting the fundamentals. I'm not learning any trick shots. I'm obviously, as we've been speaking about gamma with the, this is the new trick shot, if you will. It's actually that's starting to even wane. But, like I said, I'm not looking to learn any new trick shots. Everybody knows I think less is better. You know what I mean? And that's not the placate. And I'm the willing to do it. I'm the first one up and the last one out. You know what I mean? I'm Philo. But
Okay.
yeah, it was good to step away. I learned a couple of things, but yeah, I missed
Well,
everyone.
like what? The most important thing, recharging your battery.
Well, first
Do
of
you
all, I
feel
found out that I'm
fresher?
losing. Well, first of all, I found out I'm losing more hair than I like to at an alarming rate. But I'll digress at that one. I never got a chance to freaking look at myself the past 3 months. But
Yeah.
what is it? You know what? Listen, first of all, I want to do better. I don't care what benchmark I'm up against. I don't care what I have to, and I want to do better. I don't know whatever that may mean. It could be relative to myself. It could be relative to I have privy to all our retail traders. Certainly, if someone's outperforming me, I get pissed off, and I don't get angry or mad. I just get. Well, it's a competitive nature. That's why I'm a trade view. I'm a team guy. You know what I mean? So I learned. I just put a lot of principles back in line and took a breath and learned to just get back into this is a market. If I post, I'll go into TGH in a second. There are stocks that I sold down 50% and took some decent losses. I'm talking big stocks, not a 50% loss, but they were down 50% at the time, like a Square, if you will, a Roblox or a Plug Power.
Hardest thing to do, isn't it? To,
You know what? And I'll show
just
you another thing.
liquidate.
You know what? We're gonna go to some charts after we're done here, but let's go to TGH and we'll get back to Listen, if everybody's signing on here, they know I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm as transparent as they come. I should be. I'm not patting myself in the back, but it's a learning curve, and that's where we sit. So, a lot of stocks. I'll even go to TradeGATEHub, and I started posting after a week and a half. And by the way, this is how I sign in. Everybody else signs. Oh, look at this. Everybody else signs in the same way. Hold on a second. It's just because my this blocked here, TradeGATEHub. But let me give you an example while I'm on the point. While I'm on this specific point, here's what Steve Burns, by the way, everybody's got to fill this guy. If you don't know, then you're behind the curve. I mean, you're talking about stocks like Twilo, Roblox down 65% from the high. GME is self-explanatory. Square, which I'll tell you, I made a great sale on vacation at 120, 118. It's now 95. I do have some options. It has earnings this week, but I won the battle. I won the war, but I maybe lost the battle. Selling it. I have some options, but you look, Penn Nash. A lot of these are best of breeds, and Roku down 80% at the high. So you know what? I bought 2,000 Roku on a 30% pullback. Which, by the way, a 30% pullback on Roku is a correction. So even if I didn't sell that, it went down another 40%. I'm talking pins. Yep. Another
Massive.
one.
Massive.
I mean, it's Zoom. Lewis was in this. Marna, the Marna cured the world. Now it's down 70. Now even more. It's down 74% from the high. And somebody say, "Well, what happened?" It's still. So what I'm saying is, You know what? I played. I went over. I really tried to go over a lot of my biggest losses and to try to my biggest gains and know why I let it happen on both sides. And you know what I mean. You're never happy with the winners, and you're always upset with the losers. And I
Yeah.
am. And that's where I sit. You know what I mean? It's a learning curve. Like I said, it's a learning thing every day. But let's get back into
You know what,
and
Mike? I was watching a lot of the Beijing Olympics, and I look at these guys, and of course, physically they're in peak performing shape, but they also go through a lot of mental duress by pushing their body to those limits and beyond what most people could do. And I almost think that what we do on a mental level, you have to be a peak performer, be in good shape, have your head clear, and because you have to be in your mental peak performance state to be effective. And most of my mistakes happen when, oh, it's Friday, I let my guard down and I missed something. Because by the end of the week after trading, I'm tired. So I mean, really being a trader is almost like being an Olympic athlete. So
I understand that. My dad was an athlete, as you know, and he was conditioned after 40 some odd years. I'm conditioned too, and I'm not minimizing the mental capacity, the mental strength. It's the same parallel to what I always say here. The number one thing, I mean, like I said, after a certain period of time, and I say after 25, 26 years, everybody has privy. For example, I'm looking at our YouTube channel. If I had a YouTube channel of me, you, and Tim that traded 100 years at a very, very high level, I don't know where this cliche come in. I would be watching these videos till my eyes bled. The only way I could have the learning curve is when I walked into my previous firm and they started calling and I read the printer. There was no other simulated trade. I run on paper. I still do it. That's how I started on paper. And then I went to my manager and I said, listen, I bought 1,000 shares of Compaq at 24 and I sold it at 24 at 5/8. It says, oh, Michael, you're good. So that's how I learned. So what I'm saying is the learning curve doesn't have to, it's not going to take you a quarter century. I'm still learning. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean? It all comes down to focus. You told me about mental, the question boiled down to full circle. It can slip. Listen, it's harder to stay on top. Tim might listen. Somebody could beg the differ on this one. It's harder to stay there than it is to get there, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
It's harder to stay. It's you just
you
always
could even do an Olympic analogy with that. I mean, some of the favored, like Shifrin was favored, and she wasn't able to stay on top. Came into it on top. Shaun White came into it on top. Age is also a factor for those guys. I mean, I wish I was Shaun White's age. No, he's an old man in the Olympics. So, Mike, let me ask you, I know you're not like a macro geo guy, but
I can't. I leave that to the professionals, and says I'm not.
All right. Okay. So, when these headlines and, we're getting headlines deluged with them, Biden's going to speak. Putin gave us a history lesson yesterday. When that's happening, to me, I think it's even more important to, shorten your time horizon and be happy taking some profits instead of trying to hold positions. When the market, it's hard to have a lot of conviction because a headline could take it away from you in 30 seconds. How do you feel about it?
I feel about it like this. Okay, let me tell you something. The majority of my peers, if you will, are macro or more, have more macro. Most of the guys are sitting on they're trading like Sir Larry. You know what I mean? Looking at the quote chart and trading on yachts, and that's fine because they should at that level. I'm just more into it, if you will. They had maybe another end game, if you will. But a couple of them are down in the dumps, if you will, because of, I'll go to a couple of charts here. Let me just give a new share and give an example. And, a lot of them, majority of them know what to do. But even Amazon, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? You buy Amazon. So what's more, what I took away more, and for anybody that I spoke to on a macro level, and when I was away, I only spoke to them on a macro level because I had to at least do myself a service and step aside. You have to, I always say the better traders know how to trade their system better. You can't be buying, these stocks down to, keep doing this and buying these down increments and keep averaging down. You have to decide what type of trader you are. If you're an active trader, which I decided to be here as my active account, and not to sound egregious, I should be this way. I literally feel like I can take a good amount of money in the market every day out of the market. And it's not me thinking, oh, I can do it. I'm going to get, it's giving it to, I'll show
You
you.
do it.
I do it. So you have to, I have the long-term fund for TradeView. I have a lot of rules in that account I abide to. I don't short. I try to buy only certain, I do only buy certain market caps. I'm down in some things right now. And you know what? I got to baby these things, but I put myself in them. It's like I opened a store and it's losing money. Why am I going to go open up another store and put on another trade when I was responsible for opening up that one? And I got to work, you got to coddle it like this. So how do I handle it? You have to decide what type of trader you are. And the numbers don't lie, as we say. If you're not trading well in this type of environment, listen, it's cheesy, it's cliche, cut your size and step back. Because, by the time, how it is, coach, and everybody here, I'm just trying to save them the time. You're going to get nickeled and dime. And by the time your real setup comes, you're probably not going to catch that move anyway, because you're so damaged from trying to catch your own setup that any type of move going your way, you'll be just happy to get, and you'll get out, probably miss the meat of the trade. I do it all the time. So you have to have a plan. What is this, para? You have to have a plan. Oh, it's Mara. And, be tactical. And if you don't, learn from us, paper trade, get the demo going. We have demos on Rhino Trade or MT5. Just take a step back. You'll probably learn just as much just as much mentally or fundamentally than you will making the amount of money trying to chase or learn. You just can't do it.
No, you have to put in the time, and that time is screen time. Okay, so screen time, the more hours you put in, I don't care, what your level is, the better you're going to be. I think that you really have to get used to how each market moves that you trade, and maybe you narrow your focus in times like this. Mike, are you find yourself in less inventory in your store at these levels than say a month ago?
Absolutely.
There you go.
The VIX is 20. What is the VIX is 29 and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good for, it's just, I came in short a little bit of oil, and
Okay.
some could say I gambled, although I was right. I was in the right church. I was in the wrong pew. I just try to be, there's enough movement where I don't have to take overnight risk, a lot of it. So I'm just having my levels. If I'm right, I'm right. I'm not adding to winners. I don't, coach, I'm taking it trade by trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let me give an example. Are we still on this thing? Look at Riven today.
Yeah,
I'll give
look
you an
at it.
example.
Yeah.
Right, Riven. That's the car maker.
Right.
The stock went from 69 to 62. By the way, when this broken line here means it's unchanged. The futures are getting, well, actually they opened somewhat unchanged this morning. So the stock opened unchanged, and this is my line here, 66.50. It ripped to 69.50. That's $3. Now it's 62 on huge volume. It's that's a stock that if you just relative strength and relative weakness don't really work that much. Snap was positive this morning. It's down at $1.20. The only ones that I'm playing with CFLT. What did I do with this thing? I sold this well. You know what, coach?
Yeah, so they're selling every bounce, it seems, Mike.
Well, let me say this, coach. Look at Penn National Gaming is down $1.50, for example. And you look at something like Wynn Las Vegas, which we sold. But DraftKings, which got downgraded, if you look at the chart here, and just had no reason to go up, is now opened at 16.50, and it went to basically 18.50. It's a $2. Why did that one do that when the better ones are still just, I don't know. I just don't know. You just can't have an ego.
I'll tell you, one heck of a gap. Was it potentially earnings or
DW,
downgrade, something like that?
I'll show you my main page. Here's my main pages today, and I have nothing tactically. I'll even show you my trades today if we're going to get, you know what? I'm going to show you my trades in a second, but I'd be doing an injustice by anybody here. A couple of things, and let's go to the routine. because you and I are supposed to bounce each other up geopolitically, but maybe I've been away, and I know you get a bigger audience, and that's part. I'm glad about that, because I'm going to show exactly what I do a little bit. Here's the routine I punch up every day. Watch Michael Santoli. This is Monday, a good summary of Putin's speech.
Yep.
Helene, obviously, Helene, I've been posting for Helene for years.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate enough to have Helene have twice now, which is a testament to either both you and I are TradeGATEHub, or Helene's just a very, very nice and giving person. I go with both. So I go with tactical sentiment. I usually go with sentiment. And by the way, when I go with sector sentiment, and I want everybody to do their own diligence and look at this at their own time. And also go back on a YouTube channel. All these I mean, we're the YouTube channel basically holds TradeGATEHub accountable for what we do. And by the way, with the levels that we're at, I'm proud of it. So go back so I don't have to go through this every day. So I do a lot of positioning. I do a lot of RSI. I even posted an RSI indicator sheet. I punch a lot of things from Helene, a lot of macro views, which I'm glad you believed on. Earnings for the week, I give it to you. Jim Cramer, what would he think? He was right, by the way. When the market was down 2.8% and it went positive, wouldn't you take some off? And I said, agree. I took some off too. Now the futures are actually, they're almost breaking mid-morning low or mid-afternoon low. I punch up what's moving. We punch up the plan. DWAC, I wanted to short that this morning. Now it's going negative. I'm watching it. Margin call time. I was making a little joke with my dog.
Oh, that's not your dog. That's a client who didn't listen to you.
Well, no, listen, I'm not always right, but at least we have a good reason for what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to my screen and what's my general universe. And I want to show a couple of tips. This is my universe. Now, for example, this is Tesla. This is XPEV. These are all the EV makers. Now, obviously, they're grouped in one way. But what I also do is suppose I also put which ones were acting better at that particular time. So PayPal, for example, might be acting, obviously it's in the group, but it might be acting better, and it is because it's only down 4 cents. Like I'll put Upstart, which is acting very poorly, even it's 100. So I'll look at those. So tomorrow, when the market opens unchanged, I'll remember that if I want to buy one of these payment providers, I'll remember that PayPal was acting well, or AFRM was acting second best. So I won't have to be like, which one was acting good or bad yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, I look at Chevron in the oil group, and Chevron's on the top, not because it's the strongest one today, because it's been the strongest one, period. So if I like crude, I don't have to look, has PXD been strong? Has FANG been strong? So that's another.
They've all been strong.
No, they've all been strong. And Devon.
Yeah, you wanted to bring up Devon. What do you do with it?
Well, this is what. Let's go to crude, okay?
Yeah.
Now crude. What is crude? But when I saw crude only up 4%, crude was making, obviously everybody knows, a nice run before the war. So crude wasn't really making this parabolic move. So when I was short a little bit of crude, and here's my chart here, I was in, I was always
through USO.
I mean, did a double top. I think crude should have been 100. Crude should have been 100 by now easily. Don't you think, Coach?
Yeah, I think that I saw some platforms where WTI made a new high, making this a reversal day.
Well,
and I've been looking for a high here for last several weeks.
Well, I like it too, and unfortunately for me, maybe I gambled on the plane. I did some nice damage control. That's where I was hypocritical in saying that I should have overnighted. And if I did not have a little crude overnight, I would have shorted the gap like I told you and made a decent amount of money instead of doing damage control. That's the fine
why not
line.
Pull back to the
that's the fine
November
line.
highs.
You want to talk about focus? That's the fine line. Yeah. I know what to do. And if I didn't have any crude short overnight, I'd take a little bit of a gamble. I would have shorted the up open, and it would have gone from a nice gain to doing damage control. I'd trade like a little bit of a wizard and take risk in shorting crude into a major geopolitical move on a Tuesday morning and taking that risk. So what I'm saying is you have to be aware. So let's go to the crude. Am I showing my chart here?
Yeah, you're showing USO.
Okay, let's look at USO. So let's look at Devon. And I did post that I wanted to short.
Wow. Nice reversal day today.
Well, it is a nice reversal, and it showed its hand early. It was $58 this morning. 58. So it opened $4 higher. And for me, that's any type of fade. You know what I mean? Especially when it was even near the 60 strike price. Now it's near the moving averages. It was a good fade, but that's why I started the short crude. So PXD is also the best of breed. Fact. That's not arguable. I mean, you go to Jim Cramer or any of the other guys, they'll tell you PXD is up there. PXD went from 241 to basically 221. $20 move on PXD, breaking on, you know what, the volume's not heavy there, but what did I do on crude? So I came in a little bit of crude short. Oh, let me show my trades overnight. Okay. So let me go to chart parameters this morning. Let me show 4 a.m. because that's what time I was up.
You know, some of the best trades, I actually put out a sell in gold. I don't know where it is now in the room today at 1906. I think it was down 10. So, I mean, some of the trades that are the hardest to do sometimes could be, you know, it's counterintuitive to short oil right now, even though Putin's saying that he may stop
Look at
and
overstock.
not proceed. You know, you can't, who do you believe? He may stop for a
You
while.
don't have to believe
He may
anybody.
stop for a while. You trade the price action, right?
Coach, that's it. Right. No, I was going to, I didn't want to interrupt you. You don't have to believe anybody. Helene
Yeah.
says trade the price action. I mean, just trade the price action. What I was saying in USO is I shorted this. I came in a little bit of short. Just let me prove my point so we can move on and do the trader's justice. So I shorted some more here this morning, 67.84. You know what I mean? I shorted more. The red is obviously a short, 67. And I covered majority of it at 65.40. So if I wasn't a Weisenheimer, as we would say, and have it overnight, my first short was 67.85.
Yeah.
My covers were 65. What is that? That's $2.50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's
and
wrong
by
with
the way,
5%?
and by the way, I just make it so. Right before I came on, I told these guys that what had happened here. I took off some USO, and that was like an hour ago. So I mean, I posted my trade. And I should post my trade, but I'm still short a little. I'm short 4,000 shares. I'll show my thing. I should have taken all of it off, but the market right now is going against me a touch. So what else did I do this morning? AFRM. I was up. Bought AFRM at 4:05 this morning at $34. I think I bought it like 800 shares. I made $2,000 in it, and I sold it when I woke up at 36.20. So I bought it at 34.02 and I sold it at 36.20. That's making $2.31. People work all day long for that. You know what I mean, Coach? You got to take that seriously. So I'm up there trying to make a little money for the family. What else did I do? What are other my trades? GLBE. Oh, I bought some Lebu.
Okay.
Because Jim Cramer made a point. Jim Cramer made a point. What does Bristol Myers have to do with Putin? And he was right. So I bought some Lebu early at what? 1580.
Is that a daily? No, that's
a today chart.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nice pullback.
It was a nice pullback.
What's that green moving? The 200?
That's a 200 on the daily.
Yeah, okay.
But you know what? I just did that to take a stab. What else did I do? Redfin. I had this overnight. This did the same. So Redfin, woke up early this morning. Actually, I was selling it. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get to because I just want everybody to get familiar with my charting. If I go through this, so I was buying Redfin this morning. It's 21.67. So I was selling it 22.40. Went to 23.70. But you know what? The stock's getting murdered, and it was the third day down. You know that's my third day down rule. I didn't think it was going to go back to 100. But third day downs I play, and it's actually good, doing nicer. I wish I would have held it. USO and GLBE I bought. By the way, I bought this one here. That's a stock that Goldman like. I bought it here, and I sold it well, but now I should get out of it. And when I get offline, if you will, I'm going to sell it. Where am I long in front?
What do you think of the miners, Mike? They've had a pretty good run. Moving into this geotension, I think they all have moving average clearance up here. They're above all the moving averages.
Well, Newmont. I mean, this is the one we were talking about the whole time, Coach.
Yeah.
And Newmont gets the ultimate compliment. By the way, with the thicker the stock, like an Exxon, it's very rarely that the RSAs get to 90. You know what I mean? Some of these low floaters get like there. But even as we made a point about Exxon, which was going parabolic for lack of, we need a chart here. How you doing? Exxon, whose RSI barely, the thicker the stock, very rarely they get to the 80s and 90s. But Newmont gets the ultimate compliment. You know what I mean? I went shorted. That's the ultimate compliment from a person that has a filter that will do anything.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nat gas wise, anything?
nat gas, I look at clear. I don't look at nat gas. I think nat gas clear, by the way, this is UNG.
Okay.
And I think clear, which is the best of breed, or it's arguable. UNG, I wouldn't short it. The stocks are leading the commodity. And I should have shorted the stocks instead of the commodity. So if I would have shorted clear, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm on here for pre-market hours. I wasn't sure. If I would have, instead of wasn't a wise guy and had to get out of the crude, and I would have shorted clear. I'm not going to lie to you. I would have shorted 50. I would have shorted maybe I would have shorted 50 through the whole number, the 55 whole number. I probably would have shorted 55, like 10. And you know what? I would have been right. And I would have shorted. What else? EOG. You know what? They came in nicely. The move has been made, though. You know, I mean, they don't even have that much volume. British Petroleum. Let's look at what that, BP. The crude that, by the way, that just tested new highs. And for geopolitical, I mean, that's British Petroleum. That's not doing anything sexy, right, Coach?
No, 2 drives.
Yeah, it is.
Diverged. Yeah.
And look, I'll give you a stock that's hurting me now. And I don't know what it's coming out. This is you know what? It's straight up. It's a problem. Everybody knows that I was liking Overstock, and I was selling Overstock at 54 just like 2 weeks ago.
Is that under pressure and sympathy with crypto?
No, well, it is with crypto, Coach, but it also should be. It also goes with Amazon. Look at Roku.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what? I did sell a lot of it, and it moved from 39, from 40 to 54. So it's what, a 20% move?
Yeah.
25, and it's made a 25% move from 52 to 37. My God, that's 30%, Coach, isn't it? In like 2 weeks. These stocks, some stocks don't make 30% moves in years. But now I'm going to have to reevaluate. You know what? What I'm going to have to do is I have to buy some puts to offset it now. Now I'm going to have to go out. Now I'm going to have to use an option strategy. So is it a recommendation to take advantage of power scan?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Mike, it's awfully great to have you back in the saddle. I know anytime I've been away, usually takes me a few days to, get my center and my balance and be in tune. So, but I'll tell you what, your content every day sure helps everyone who comes here, including myself, your content during the day. And, nice trading and for coming back you've been out of it for a while, and I'm glad you took a vacation. I think you'll be glad and notice a difference in a few days once you're back at it. So appreciate you, Mike. Missed you.
I missed you too, guys. Listen, any question, please. You know what I mean? I see that the audience, I didn't even cut you off, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you for the sincerity, but I see that we have a lot of more new names there. I appreciate that, guys. Lewis just asked me a question. I get back to the question right away. So listen, a couple of things in life. You usually don't get something unless you ask. So please ask. That's why we're here. Right or wrong, we usually sent we're USO. So just always ask. And there is no bad question. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and you know what, Mike? There's no other place like TradeGATEHub that offers a free service without having an agenda to upsell you to a subscription. We are unique.
Well, we are unique. And you know what? Not to sound cliche, and I have been apologizing for saying cliche. Me was the former broker, me in my 20s. But they speak for it. Listen, the bottom line is we're so confident, and Tim is so confident and impatient of what he does, is that it'll work organically and build upon a life of its own. You know what I mean? Wall Street Bets is free, right?
Like a mushroom, buddy.
Well, Wall Street Bets is free. I forgot more than they ever know, those people. So come over here.
All right. So you heard it from Mike. It's an open invite. Come here and share your work and make yourself accountable to what you're trading. You'll become better. That I could guarantee. If you share your work, you're going to share your best work. So Mike, great to have you back. Look forward to collaborating with you. You should be here for another 10 years before your next vacation.
You know what?
Right?
You know what? I hope so. All
right.
But I'll be like this. I'll be using a magnifying glass to look at the quotes. I'll be so freaking blind.
From one Iron Man to another.
But I'm on tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern. I'm resuming everything. So 10 o'clock Eastern again tomorrow. So I'll be back after lunch. It's 11:30 Eastern. Coach, thank you. Thanks to the live stream team and everybody that hung in there. So we'll see you after lunch, guys. Cheers.
All right. Adios. Good job.